Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, Natty. How are we doing tonight? We're back for
I'm
more.
doing
Oh, sorry. Go on.
no, that's okay. You asked me how I am and then you cut me off.
I
I
did.
mean,
I kept talking, and I don't know. Like my brain just went, "Hello, we're talking now. Let's keep going." Yes.
that's fine. I
Yeah.
understand you got all the momentum
Yeah.
from the weekly show, which was amazing as
Mm,
always.
thank
Lots
you.
of sneaky bits in there. PS5
Oh. Oh
giveaway,
my God. Yeah.
lawnmower,
Yeah.
whatever point or you want to get 20% discount.
That's it.
Very
Don't.
nice.
That's it. So, for those that missed out on the weekly show this week, we've entered into a bit of a partnership with Manscaped, and if you go to manscaped.com and use the code GOA, you get 20% off. So definitely, if you're in the market for that, definitely go ahead and do that. Um,
Yeah, I was just having a look.
mhm.
The one I was looking at, $28 off. Can't go wrong with
Oh,
that.
bloody nice. That's good. That's good. But we've got a bit of esports news to get into. So let's start off with some World of Tanks ANZPL season 4. It's back. It's back, baby. Um,
Yes.
very
Super exciting.
very excited. So let's have a look at the results to start with, because it was a very interesting round. I thought, because all games went to tiebreakers, which so it that goes to show you how sort of close this round is already. Just hang on a tick while I move. Oh, what's going
Oh,
on here?
that's got to be, I feel like that is unique. I don't think I've ever seen that in a round of World of Tanks where
Um,
they've all gone to tiebreakers.
might be because they've only had tiebreakers for 2 seasons. Because I do definitely think there was a round. In fact, I think there were like 6 or 7 games in a row one season where they had ties. So, but that was
Mm.
back before the tiebreaker games. Um, so they had like just ties. So it ended up at 2-2, and I think that season in particular was when they decided that tiebreakers were a good thing. So they brought that in. Adelaide action, and this is funny as well, because the first 2 games, the losing side won the first 2 battles, and then the other team came back and reverse swept. So,
Yeah.
which is a little crazy. And the only one that didn't do that was the Bulldogs Sentinels match, which Sentinels went on to win, but they sort of went a 1-for-1. Um, Also, a unique thing,
Mm.
in the first 2 games, the map picks. Well, the wins went with the map picks. So Adelaide Action X in the first game, they won both their map picks, and then the Scorpions won their map picks. And same with the Conquerors and the Panthers. So maybe it's just because that they know those maps really well. Um, Whereas the Bulldogs and the Sentinels, they won one each on both maps. So it's an interesting sort of dynamic, I think, and it's still going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. So, as you can imagine, after the first week, the ladder's looking, like this. So, Scorpions, Panthers, and Sentinels. I'm not sure how they grade that. There must be something um, else that they look at, where they
Yeah,
go,
to place
yeah,
them first, second, and third. Yeah.
yeah. I thought they might go on. Like quickest win or something, or if
Mm.
failing that, maybe alphabetical, but that's not alphabetical. So I'm happy for Panthers to be in second after that.
Good start to the season for
It
them.
it is, it really is. So it would have been better to get the outright win, but like Conquerors, and Conquerors for me are a team to keep your eye on, because the picking up those 3 players from the Melbourne Matildas
Mm.
is going to really impact them, because those are good players. They're season 3 champions, and they already know how to play well together. Because the last few seasons, Conquerors have brought on a lot of new players to replace players that were stepping down. So, but they didn't all come from the same team like this. So this is going to be a pretty cool thing to see how they go. One thing we do have to look at, though, is the fantasy league. So this week, and you can see here, 2 of the Conquerors players ended up in the best team for the round. So Mary Turnip, number 1 there with 445 points. So he's
Oh.
He was farming up a storm there.
Amazing.
I'm ashamed to say that I did not do very well this one. I think I got like 800 and
Oh,
something points. So yeah, it
that's
was.
not still not too bad. I mean, it could have been
Yeah,
worse.
it could have, but yeah, I need to keep in touch with that top ranked sort of player. So I've sort of changed things up a bit, and we'll have a look at. Hopefully, I'll do a little bit better this week with my team because I've got to beat J rated. I've got to do it. This is my season. I can feel it, and I'm
Yes.
already behind the 8 ball. Damn it.
Oh no. How much is
Mm.
J rated ahead?
Few hundred. So I need to pick
Oh,
up my game there. So
all right.
we'll see how
All
that
right.
goes. But before we go on and have a look at the teams for next week, we're going to do something. I'm going to try something a little bit different here, Natty. So please bear with me while I do this because I want to try a little bit of an analysis of a game. So
Ooh.
this is the last game of the Bulldogs Sentinels match. So this is a tiebreaker on Tundra. You can see that what we've got here. These blue dots are the Sentinels and they're attacking, and these green dots are the Bulldogs. So in the first game, the Sentinels played really hard for the one flag over here, and all the Bulldogs, sorry, just drove down to the two flag, and so the Sentinels were able to set up really well over here. This time though, they've left Madhouse here, and I think it's a light tank. I think a LT 100. I think, but yeah, but it sat there. It did sit there for a long time undetected to try and spot out what was on there. But this was kind of the initial setup after things had progressed from the starting points there. So what happened then was two of the Sentinels tanks spotted the one down here. So they've come down to chase. And I think the Bulldogs were kind of expecting, well, I think they're hedging their bet. So they were left a couple in position to defend the two flag while also sending one down so that they could move on to the one flag if needed, as well as this one here. So that's a pretty good defensive little setup that they've got there. And this tank here is able to rotate quickly onto the one flag if they need them to. But at the moment, the Sentinels are still sort of waiting for the opportunity to come out here.
Just waiting for somebody to pop their head out to see what's going on.
Or more waiting for the setup proper to happen. Because the only reason these two tanks are down here is because they spotted a Bulldogs tank that was down. So this tank that's here has run all the way from over there. And these two tanks
Wow.
were up around here when
Yeah.
they've spotted him. So they've tried to chase him down. They've gotten a couple of shots off into him. But they now don't know where it is. And the Bulldogs know that there were two tanks that sort of came down here, and I think they even spotted out this third one here. So they know that there's three tanks around here, so they might be kind of expecting a push there. But quite easily, these tanks can rotate and go up on the one cap as well. So, and that is kind of what happened. So after that, the Bulldogs kind of got a little bit restless, I think, and started pushing over here because I think they kind of guessed that the action was going to happen down in this area of Tundra. They've left one tank here to spot out if anything does go on down in the southern area of the map. You've still got a tank here, hold down, that can come around here and put shots out if the Bulldogs get spotted, or maneuver around to down here to try and get some cross shots happening. So and the tank that's on the cap has got support from this tank here and also this tank here. And remember, still at this point, I think this was Madhouse. He's still there only in a spotting role because he's not going to be able to put out a lot of damage. And you've got to assume, and every time that someone goes onto a cap, you've got to expect that he's being supported. And even if he can't see them, there are tanks there that will punish him if he decides to go out and try and get them. So he's just there trying to spot stuff. So this is probably where Bulldogs have been caught unawares a little bit. So they're trying to slip through this pass here to get through to the cap point. With this tank here also trying to get around, maybe trying to distract this tank up here to give these three tanks here some covering fire. Madhouse has been spotted out here, and so this tank's moved out to engage, while the other tank over here has moved in to help with the cap and bring the capture time down there. So for the Sentinels, they've set up really well. They've brought their tanks in and closed off Bulldog's angles. So as soon as they knew that pretty much all Bulldog's tanks were down here, they didn't have to do much because there wasn't a lot of time for these tanks to go around here and try and get some shots off that way. So they would have had to have come through the little pass. So they've put a tank here to try and cut that off, because they're coming through this pass, their numbers are going to count for nothing. This 3-on-1, you're only going to be able to get one tank around the corner, and they're going to cop some pretty heavy damage. And you're really wanting to get out here quickly, because I think two tanks on a cap brings the capture time down to a minute.
Yeah.
So, and if you get three tanks on, that's 30 seconds. So, and once again, that's pretty much what happened. There was a Madhouse went down, which meant that the ability to spot it's been removed over on the tanks on the cap. They've moved those three tanks onto there, so there's a lot of pressure on the Bulldogs right now to get some reset shots in on them
quickly.
So but I'm not sure. I think there might be a bit of a hill here, so these tanks didn't quite have have a good shot onto them. But so this was the tank up here, which is on a bit of a rise, was trying to get shots in, and unfortunately couldn't get any off, and the Sentinels ended up winning this tiebreaker on Tundra by capturing the point. So it feels to me like, having watched the match a few times just to try and get these points in right, the Bulldogs sort of seemed convinced that the Sentinels were going to make a play for the 2 flag. And so they'd set up mainly down here. And especially well, I should say as well that the first 2 matches of this series were also played on Tundra. And the Bulldogs did get caught out a little bit, where they'd driven all their tanks down to try and protect the 2 flag. And the Sentinels have just set up. Let's just create a new slide quickly. So the Sentinels were basically had 3 on. They've had 1 guy back here, and I think they had 1 over here to really protect them. And all the Bulldogs were over here, driving in a pack to try and defend it. So they were caught a little bit unawares by that play, I think. But you think that they might have been a little bit more open to it, especially when they weren't really finding the tanks down here. Maybe they were relying a little bit heavily on Madhouse spotting them out. But, the Sentinels are an experienced team. They're a 2-time ANZPL champion. So they know to stay hidden until they don't have to anymore. So once the cap pressure has come on by them, they're set up. So it's going to be hard for any team to try and dig them out after that. So the only hope you got is to get some reset shots onto the tanks on the 1 cap, and hopefully maybe just bleed them down and take them out through damage. So didn't go that way for the Bulldogs, but the Sentinels with their play there and trying to funnel the traffic coming back from the south end of the map through these little narrow bits there paid off for them, and they took home the tiebreaker.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Do you tend to see trends with different maps? So some are better for defenders versus attackers?
Very much so.
You've just described with those 2 scenarios where both teams thought that the attacking team was going to point 2, and I just wonder if it's just really difficult for them to manage covering both points when they're defending.
Well, yeah, it may even be that, because and I haven't really played a whole lot of tanks myself. There are some maps that I've played a bit, but not really Tundra, so I don't know it all that well. But looking at this, trying to defend the 1 flag, probably your best bits is to have someone probably spotting from this little town here. Maybe having someone over here, but if you saw from these slides back here, the Sentinels had also sent somebody
already
over here.
Set up there.
So you're going to have to sort of hang about here, but then you've got the defensive measure of just being able to push around that corner a bit and get shots on. So then you're in a bit of a stalemate and have to reposition. But
And it would be difficult to justify having tanks up that high when if something does happen at 2, you've gotta go the whole map.
that's right. But I mean, having one tank up here is probably not so bad. But I just think their initial setup just sort of screamed that they were expecting them to go to the 2 flag, but they had Madhouse there and were kind of relying on him to spot. But even leaving one tank here, or maybe even one over here, but once again, I'm not sure if this area has like
a rise there. Yeah.
so that might not have made that as easy as what I think it was. But I do think they did leave this area undefended a lot. Like having a tank there for spotting doesn't mean much, and then maybe they were led a little bit astray when they were being chased down here by and they spotted 3 tanks. So you go, well, 3 tanks, that's 60% of their force. Maybe they are.
Yeah, surely they're going to 2. Yeah.
Or even if you were believing, and I think there was a bit of a thought process here that maybe they thought that this was a feint, so they've sent someone up here to have a look and haven't seen anything. So then they've refocused back on the 2 flag. So it's, it's an interesting sort of a map. And like I say, I'm still sort of beginning it, and this is a new thing that I'm trying out. Hopefully, it's made a bit of sense, and I would love to talk to like someone from the Sentinels or from the Bulldogs to actually try and confirm that. So
I'm sure you'll get your opportunity.
I'm sure I will as well. But yeah, no, it's just an interesting thing sitting there and watching the tank movements as well, and just thinking about the positioning of the tanks. And those that know World of Tanks will see that I'm just using the icon for like a light tank, because like these icons here, light tank, medium tank, heavy tank. I think this is a tank destroyer and this is artillery. But I still am learning about the different tanks, and I don't know which one's which. So it's I think there was a LT or TL 100 I know is definitely a light tank, so that's why that was over there spotting, because it can get out to that spot quick, hopefully without being seen. But yeah, it would just I just think the Bulldogs were still expecting, even when they'd set up here, they were checking the 1 cap, but they the 1 flag, but they were still expecting a 2 flag push, and it never came, and ended up with a Sentinels victory there.
It's interesting because I know on the first slide you were talking about one of the players for the Bulldogs, was it, in the green, doing the run across the bottom toward 2. Maybe that's what gave the other team the idea that maybe we'll go to 1 then.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows?
Well, that's it, and that's what the good teams do. They have a couple of plays, and then they will look at, they'll see that, okay, we've gone down here, and we've noticed that there's a shit ton of tanks down here. Let's go back and set up here, ready to move on to this 1 cap with a bit of support. So
yeah, it's interesting, and it's honestly not dissimilar to first-person shooters as well that have multi-points, like Valorant. You know, you're just trying to throw off the decoys and things just to not give away your position until it's too late.
That's it, and that's why spotting's so important. And you'll quite often see in World of Tanks there'll be a tank that will be in sort of an overwatch position, and they won't fire, because as soon as you fire, they know where you are. So they'll just sit there, they'll keep quiet, and they'll be spotting and getting all the information. And if you know where all the enemy tanks are, it makes your life a lot easier. But moving on to the next week's matches. So this is going to be there's a few interesting, a couple of interesting games here. Like the Scorpions and the Panthers are the only the 2 undefeated teams playing each other. But I kind of feel like, and this hurts me to say this because Panthers are my team, it kind of feels like Panthers got a little bit lucky in a couple of their games. That they got away with a few things that they probably shouldn't have. So and coming up against the Scorpions, who are just a solid team, man. Like they're their lineup is unchanged this season from last season. So and they're bloody good. JT as a shot caller is great, and then you've got Napa and I think I'm trying to remember if Russian maybe was one of their players as well. So they've got some seriously good players there, and it's going to make the Panthers' life hard. So we'll see how they go, but I expect the Scorpions to come out on top of there. But the game I'm more interested in is the Bulldogs Conquerors one, because the Bulldogs lost to the Sentinels. Like, the Sentinels are always a tough team, no matter when you play them. So them getting that loss there in a tiebreaker isn't probably as bad as it looks. So I think the Bulldogs are probably in a relatively good position, even though they didn't make the finals last season. I think based on this one round, I think the Bulldogs aren't looking too bad. And I'm still excited to see the Conquerors. Just 2+2, who's a player from the Melbourne Matildas who came across to the Conquerors, didn't play last week. So you only had 2 of those ex-Melbourne players in the team. But you saw in the fantasy league points, Mary Turnip was up the top, so he had a field day there. And even I think Whippet featured pretty highly, and Trax as another Conquerors player was in that top 5 as well. So it's I think that once they get their teamwork together a bit more, they're going to be quite a team, and it's going to be hard to stop them, I think. So I think that Bulldogs Conquerors game is going to be the most interesting one to watch this Friday.
Oh, well, I'll be hoping Adelaide X can come up this week. Get none of this tiebreaker winning business. Outright win.
That's it. Straight out. Let's get that win. Actually, another interesting point I wanted to talk about. So with the Adelaide Action X, they picked up Saxon, who is the Melbourne Matildas captain from last season. And their normal captain, CJ, didn't play this round just gone. So it's an interesting thing where they've brought it. Like, I don't know how accurate, and this is just speculation, but like, it's interesting that you bring someone like Saxon in and then CJ doesn't play, even though CJ is still listed as the team captain. So
interesting. Maybe there was something else going on that we don't know about.
That's it, and that's highly likely. There's always lots of highly likely things. I need to get in on some secret player Discord somewhere and ask them all lots of questions and poke their brains and then get kicked out because I'm asking too many questions.
Nah. I'm sure they'd love it.
Cool. So that's the first round of the ANZ PL. The B League is still on its way, so that's going to be happening. So the first round of that doesn't happen till April, so that's still a little bit off. But it's going to be exciting to see that kick off too. But the ANZPL happens every Friday, 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, over on twitch.tv/World of Tanks ANZ. So get amongst it, have a watch, see how we go there. But that's not all. Like that's just one Australian OCE esport that was going on, because there's another one that's just getting to the point here now, and that's the LCO. I was very excited because we were talking last week about the makeup of the teams and the standings, and how we didn't think much was going to change, mainly because for the one that was most likely to happen, and even though it was most likely, it was still not very likely to happen, was for Pentanet and Peace to swap places. So, but for that to happen, PGG needed to beat Chiefs and not lose to Gravitas, I think was their last game. So the Gravitas one, you were almost writing that in as a win for Pentanet, as it was, because they ended up finishing last, Gravitas. They only had 3 wins for the season. But for Pentanet to sneak up and pass Peace had to lose to Gravitas. I think I'm doing, let me just double check that. I'm pretty, Gravitas and Kanga. So I got a little bit excited, not going to lie, when Peace lost to Gravitas.
Yeah, it was already just
Mm,
unbelievable because
yeah.
I didn't get a chance to watch the whole thing through, but I saw, I think it was Skimmy on Twitter, just like,
Mm,
Picks, they're in
yeah.
shambles.
Yeah.
Because just nobody would have thought that that
No,
was gonna
no.
happen.
Only
And it did.
diehard
It set up,
gravitas fans. Yeah.
yeah, and it set up this like, well, if that could happen, then maybe
Mm.
anything can happen.
Well, I got to say, it made me worried because Pentanet had to pay gravitas on the next day, and it's just like, shit. What if they lose to? I mean, not that it was really going to affect their overall position. And in the end, they still finished third because Peace were above them in the head to head. So for those playing along at home, the head to head is how many times that you've won against your opponent. So in this case, Peace and Pentanet have played 3 times. Peace has won 2 and Pentanet's only won 1. So that means Peace will be above Pentanet on the ladder if they end up on equal points.
Mm.
So
Oh, I just think it's really incredible that just one of the things that we thought was very unlikely to
okay.
happen happened.
Yeah,
So,
I got a little bit excited looking at it, going, "Ooh, hello! Pentanet wins and Peace loses. That's something right there." So
mm,
but yeah, in the end, the I think actually Kanga jumped up into 6th for this for the end of the split. So I think there was that little change there, but for the most part, the ladder has been the same for the last couple of weeks, kind of as we were expecting. Chiefs finished first, so they get a night off on Monday, and then Peace will play Pentanet for the top bracket, and Order will play Direwolves in the bottom bracket. Now, the Chiefs did play. I think it was who was it? Direwolves. So this is a team that's finished 5th, and I got to say, Chiefs made them look ordinary. Like it's, I think I said the last couple of weeks, like there is a clear top 3 in this league, and
mm,
and a clear 1 on top of that. So Chiefs is
yeah.
by far the standout right now, and even though they lost to Pentanet, but you don't know because there was no way Chiefs were going to get knocked out of that first spot. So they
Mm.
may have taken the foot off the brake a little bit and gave the players a bit of a rest. But yeah, Peace and Pentanet are definitely up there as well. But I feel like Order and Direwolves are kind of making up numbers a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, what I really liked about what happened this week was that anything can happen kind of idea. So, even though we're kind of discounting those teams a little bit just because they haven't been performing as well, who knows? Who knows?
Well, that's right because for split two, sorry, Peace came through the lower bracket and won
Mm.
their entry into Worlds. So you never know. It could happen.
What ad was that?
Sorry, what?
Sorry, there was some ad.
Oh,
You never,
ad.
never know.
No,
Yeah, yeah. Anyway,
you never know if you never go. Wasn't that
yeah,
isn't that
yeah.
like an Northern Territory tourism ad? I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
Sorry, it just got stuck in my head
yeah.
when you said that.
That's all right. That gets you like me playing Tunic and thinking the little fox looks like Foxy Loxy from Chicken Little. Like, and
Yes,
that's the only
yes.
thing I ever see. Or playing the Guardians of the Galaxy game, and there's that space llama you find pretty early on, and I spent the whole game calling it Tina from the polling. Yeah,
Of
Tina, you
course.
fat lard. Yeah. It did get a name eventually. We go, nope, that's Tina. That's Tina. It's
No.
always going to be Tina.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so after that little tangent there, so this week we've got games on Monday and Tuesday night still. So Chiefs get a night off. They won't play until the Tuesday. Peace and Pentanet will play off for the first upper bracket final, with the winner of them playing Chiefs the next day. Order and Direwolves will play off on the Monday night as well, with the loser of that going out the back door, and the winner playing the loser from Pentanet and Peace. So also another thing to note, that because we're in playoffs now, the game switched from best of 1 to best of 5.
Interesting.
So that's a whole nother kettle of fish.
That really is going from 1 to 5. That makes it a very big night for the guys.
It does, like, because I'm looking at the times here, and they're still in Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, so they're starting at 5 o'clock for the first game, and then the next game's not till 8 o'clock. So that's like 3 hours, and I know they have to program that in just in case it goes to 5 games. It might go in 3, but you have to program in those 5 games just in case.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's gonna be interesting, I think, and I also think like it's also a little bit strange to me. Well, not strange, but I guess I just want to point it out that Chiefs get a night off and then they play, and then whoever wins out of Chiefs and Pentanet and Peace will. Do they get a week off? Could they go straight into the grand final? I think. Yeah, they go straight into the grand final on the 11th of April. But of the upper bracket final, you play two games this week, and I'm just sort of looking at this, trying to work out how it goes. But it means that if you win, you play 2 games. If you lose, you play 1 game, and then 2 games next week, maybe if you win. I'm
not 100% on how the finals draws work out.
I did try to find, because I thought there was an image on the LCO Twitter page that I was trying to bring up. In fact, surely their website would have something like that on it. Let's have a look. See, so live and dangerous, people. Let's go. Get ready for. No.
I mean, we might just have to tune in and
well, that's right.
Let the casters explain it.
Yeah, I think that might be a better idea. So you listen to people that know what they're talking about. Actually, listen to somebody that's not me. Okay, because I'm pretty sure you know what you're talking about, Natty. But I'm still new to this esports malarkey. If you listen to Roving BT, all the pushers of buttons and whatever else he was saying.
Yeah, no, it always, there's little tweaks between each season, so it's always hard to know as well. You don't want to speak and say, oh, well, this is how it used to work. So, yeah.
Well, even the teams, because like there's been a fair bit of movement in teams like Pentanet.gg in particular. They only kept 1 player from last season. Birewolves went to Order. I'm not Birewolves. Biopanther went to Order, I'm pretty sure. And like the rest, they've gone off and doing their thing. I think Pabu's in Germany. Pradith is the one still. Decoy was the one that went to Brazil to play in the Brazil League. Chaz went somewhere as well, but I can't quite remember where he went. But anyway, and even like Tally went from Peace to Chiefs. And there's all sorts of player movement that happens over a break, so can't wait to see how the playoffs go for the LCO there. But one that's happened, like the one league that's already done and dusted with their regular season as well as the LCK, and they've had a rather big milestone there.
Yeah, this is huge, absolutely huge. So if anybody does follow the LCK, this is the Korean League of Legends League. I should not say it that way, but that's just how it comes out of my mouth. Anyway, so T1 were performing amazingly well this season, and they got to 15 games with no losses throughout the whole season, and that broke the last record that was held for the most consistent run of wins in the LCK. And if anybody knows T1, who's the team that did this, Faker is leading this team. Guess who held the record beforehand?
I don't know the team, but I'm going to guess it's whatever team Faker was on.
Whatever team Faker was on. So he'd only been a pro for a couple of years, and his team had originally held this record. Not only did they break the 15 streak record, but they went and they took out every match for the season. So I do want to specify that LCK, you were just saying with LCO, they do best of 1s and then finals are best of 5s. They do best of 3s for most of the season. So after the 15 straight, they did lose some games, but they still won. So out of the best of 3, they might have dropped a game, but
Oh,
they
okay.
still won overall.
Yeah.
But they made it to winning every match of the season, 18 in a row. And
Wow.
Faker is just
God.
being crowned GOAT by the majority of people in League of Legends everywhere.
God,
Like,
why wouldn't
just,
you? Like he is an incredible player. Like it's
yeah.
ridiculous how good he is.
Mercury was singing his praises in the
Mm,
Goa Discord
mm,
earlier in the week and completely agree. This guy is just a legend of the sport
mm,
now. Cementing this really is, that he was kind of a little bit quiet more recently, and so I think people kind of had forgotten him a little bit.
mm.
He hadn't won a championship super recently, that kind of thing. And for him to snag this, everybody's just saying, no, no, undoubtedly the
Yeah.
GOAT again. Go,
Yeah.
go, go, go.
Never mind the rest of
Um,
the team behind him because
yeah.
um,
Well, see, this is the thing, right? So this is the youngest team in the LCK as well, on
really,
average.
oh
So
god
if
damn.
you take out Faker because he is the oldest player, their average player team age is 18.
Oh wow.
So they are a bunch of young guns. And yeah, great. They're all great players individually. But what is really making this so unique is this is showing off the fact that not only Faker is mechanically skilled and understanding the game, but as he matures as a professional, he is bringing up all of these young guns as well, and getting the best out of them.
Mm.
So it's just absolutely brilliant, what they've managed to achieve, and everybody's calling it already. They're going to take out MSI, which
Well,
would be, I think, Faker's 4th win or 3rd. He's won twice at MSI and 3 at Worlds, or the other way
yeah.
around.
Mm.
So to be
Which
able
is still a
his
remarkable record, no matter which way you look at it.
yeah, so to be his 3rd or 4th win at MSI, which would just be nuts. And
Mm.
again, just cementing. But nobody's counting out the other teams yet.
No.
We've still got our LCO team to go and
Oh, that's
represent.
right.
Probably the Chiefs
Yeah.
go and take on Faker.
Well, and you never know
Uh,
too, because I think their playoffs still have to happen. LCK, I mean, or is that so
uh,
regular season that's done, and they were undefeated in
yes,
the time for playoffs is part of the
time for
tweet. So
playoffs. Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
there's still a chance somebody could come from nowhere and knock T1 out, but as unlikely as that is, if you're that dominant
Mm.
that you've won every game, then yeah, it's very unlikely that you're going to do that.
Who knows though? I'm actually not sure how the format changes for them into the playoffs, but if it's anything like with the LCO where they're going from 1 match to 5, if they're going from 3 to 5,
Mm.
maybe with the younger team, they might not have the same kind of stamina over the 5 matches. This is me being extremely, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm just,
Yeah.
talking about it. But there could be other things in the mix here that does just, create a challenge for T1. But yeah, we'll just have to see. It'll be just so crazy if they just did a clean run all the way through.
I just can't believe we're talking about MSI already. Like, it doesn't seem that long ago Pentanet were over there being the first OCE team to break out of the group stages. Like, this is
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
Where's it
it's
gone?
nuts. Time is just an abstract concept. I believe I shut my eyes, and who knows what time it is when they open again.
Yep. Uh, in, so there's some interesting. Like, I generally don't know a lot about Fortnite. Fortnite esports, and I guess this isn't technically Fortnite esports, but interesting Rocket League developments.
Yeah, so I think everybody is probably aware that last year Rocket League came under or was the year before, came under the Epic banner. So you were able to play Rocket League under Epic, and nobody was really sure if they had any longer term plans, what they were going to do, if they were just trying to get a bit more of a foothold in esports. But this interesting development is that you can watch Rocket League esports in Fortnite.
Yeah, I'm not like it's one thing to show concerts and that in there, but like what I'm just sort of struggling to understand why you would watch it in Fortnite when you're
I
not.
I
Yeah, when you
I
could just
still
watch
think
it on
a lot of
Twitch.
people are baffled by the concert thing.
Yeah.
Like, I fully believe this is a generational thing for me,
Mm,
because, I don't quite have VR yet, and I haven't done any of these, in-game experiences yet to
mm,
really understand or get my head around it, but you're assuming it's just to raise the profile of Rocket League in Fortnite for the Fortnite players.
mm,
That's my assumption. A bit of like, if you log into Fortnite and you see that Rocket League's on and a
mm,
couple of your mates might be watching it, you can go, oh yeah, or maybe I'll go get around that.
mm. Look, yeah,
Cars
it's
doing flips.
yeah, it's going to be interesting because I still want to watch the Fortnite space, mainly because of the acquiring of Bandcamp and Harmonix
Mm,
that Epic have done, and specifically to work on Fortnite musical experiences. So, for those that don't know, Harmonix, the people that are in Harmonix made the original Guitar Hero, and then when they got shitty at Activision, they left there and formed Harmonix and made Rock Band. So they've got that musical experience there, and Bandcamp is a platform for emerging musical artists. So it's not even video game related. And so, yeah, seeing what they're going to do with that, I'm keen to see. And it just I don't know, like it, those those acquisitions make sense when you're looking at it from the point of view of they're doing like concerts and that in Fortnite, or it might be something totally unrelated that we haven't even thought of yet that they're going to do with them. But for like Rocket League in Fortnite, yeah, you could borrow the viewership or the player base of Fortnite, but how many people would be interested in doing that? And because it's just an esport, well, not just an esport, but an esport, when you could watch that on Twitch and not have to sit in a game to watch it as well. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think this is.
Yeah, I mean, there was
Yeah.
a little bit more in the article, which I thought was interesting because a lot of esports are quite popular on Twitch because you can get drops and things.
Mm,
So, you've got your in-chat rewards for participating in the games, as far as the viewership goes. So, what they're talking about is if you're in the Fortnite arena,
mm,
you'll be eligible for some rewards as well. So,
mm,
mini games, unlocking new items and abilities and those kinds of things, which I'm
mm,
assuming will be unique prizing for
mm.
people who are in the audience.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who knows? I honestly don't understand enough around the commerce of this kind of stuff. If they're
Mm,
just trying to keep players in Fortnite and they are kind of expanding this. Oh, I don't want to use metaverse, but they are creating this whole world in Fortnite where it's music and it's other games and it's, they're pulling in all these other licenses. And, maybe they're going to try and make Fortnite Second Life.
yeah.
Who
Mm,
knows what their direction is, but that could potentially be the longer term goal of, yeah, well, the only place I can watch my Rocket League esports might be in Fortnite, but I go sit in a virtual stadium.
mm. I mean, I like the idea, but I feel like a virtual stadium. I quite like that idea, but I feel like um, VR is the place to do that, or
Yeah.
AR at the very least. Like sitting in a Fortnite stadium with just a monitor. Like, why would you watch something that's watching something instead of just watching it? Yeah. It's,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's me, you know. That's yeah. I'm not a boomer, but that's boomer mentality right there. I think. But
Oh,
I
I
think
I I
kids
feel
these days. What's the Abe Simpson quote? I used to be with it, but then they changed what it was. Now what
was.
I'm with isn't it, and what it is scary for me or something.
Yeah, yeah. We just don't look down. We've both got onions tied to our belts.
Yeah,
Um,
which was the fashion at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel that generational divide as well. I believe this is about creating communities and keeping communities together. So this is just another way for them to keep the epic community together.
Maybe that's one we could throw over to our new show, The Community Meta, and have them talk about why this would. So I'm going to have to send that to Morg and Mighty Blue Justice and see what they think.
But yeah, let's do it. I'm keen to get their expert advice. I haven't had a chance to see any of their shows yet.
No, missing out. That's all right.
I need to.
That's right. We put them up on YouTube as well. So if you do miss out on live ones, if the VOD's already disappeared, check out our YouTube. They'll be up there.
Excellent.
Which reminds me, I've still got a Streamaholics one I need to put up on YouTube from last week, which I meant to do over the weekend. But we'll get there. We'll get there. But yeah, no, it's definitely an interesting move by Epic there. And like, I'm going to mention this, and it doesn't really fit into what we're talking about, but it's just like another interesting Fortnite thing. Like I haven't read into it, but I've been hearing that Fortnite is going to be removing building from their normal stuff. It's just like, okay.
It's called Fortnite now, though. Like, are you just going to call it Night?
I don't know. Like, it's like a couple of people that I've seen talking about it go, you've just really removed the one thing that makes your game unique compared to every other freaking battle royale game out there. What the hell are you doing? And I did hear little whispers that it might be like a story for the season where somebody's stolen the building and you got to get it back. But like, even so, it's still like, why even do that to begin with?
You're absolutely right. It does take away what makes Fortnite unique. But I know that speaking to a lot of people that are my age, the first thing they'll say is, I don't want to be building buildings in my first-person shooter. Again, is this another growth strategy of pulling people into the game, seeing if that any popularity increases when they remove that mechanic? Maybe they could end up with a Fortnite league and a night league.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe they'll introduce a new game mode. Yeah.
I just can't see with Epic. Their moves feel like they're so big and kind of covert at the same time.
Yeah.
I feel like in 10 years we're going to look back and we're going to be like, oh, now we understand why they acquired Harmonix and Bandcamp and why they did this and that. But right now it's like, yes, concerts in first-person shooters. Yeah. Oh, well, sorry, third-person shooters. Yes.
Sure. Why not?
Sure.
But I tell you what, Australia's about to gain another place where they can watch esports that's not in Fortnite. Because
do you mean IRL?
I mean IRL, because Fortress, like people have been to Fortress Melbourne, they'll know how good a venue that is for esports. And now they're going to be expanding into Sydney. And I'm so glad to see that they survived, because they opened like weeks before COVID lockdown started hitting. And I was really afraid that they might not be able to survive. But the fact that they have survived and they're planning this expansion, this is just great news to me. I love the idea that we've got IRL esports stadiums.
Yeah, it's really incredible. And I completely agree with what you were saying, that Fortress Melbourne just felt like it had everything going against it with COVID and lockdowns, and every time they tried to reopen, and there was a bit of scandal about them broadcasting from their studios even though they had all the right clearances, and it was just a nightmare. At one point they were pretty much just a place to get Uber Eats from. They were still running their kitchens and people could get their Uber Eats from there. But now, they're thriving. They're, looking at hosting the Blast premiere, which we spoke about last week, and expanding to Sydney. And I don't know, did you see Morg, this little Twitter interaction?
I did. So Morg, when this announcement came out, Morg, who's our community manager here at Game on Oz, just put a little tweet in there about, when are you coming to Perth? And there was a cheeky response that said, watch this space.
Yes.
Now we actually had a pretty I'm going to call it heated, but there was no anger in it, but there was definitely some feelings being vented about an esports location in Perth in particular, and I was
Oh,
coming down on that the side of this argument that said I don't think there's enough interest in esports in Perth to be able to support this on the scale of Melbourne and Sydney. So Melbourne and Sydney have a much bigger population base and a much bigger interest in esports. Not saying that there's not an interest here, but I just don't think it's big enough. And they would have to rely on foot traffic, I think, from people that weren't esports people, maybe get just gamers in general coming in. They might be on a
yeah.
night out and go, oh, this place looks cool. So if you're going to do that and relying on nighttime foot traffic, you're probably going to have to put it in the nightclub district out in Northbridge there, and that already would put a lot of gamers off from going into and viewing it, because it's not the
Not the friendliest part of town.
well no, it's the drunk part of town, like on a Friday and Saturday night, and it's not good or bad. It's just the drunk part of town, and
Yeah.
the
Yeah, no, the place where you walk through and somebody's going down the middle of the road in their underwear for no reason.
that's it, or somebody's fallen asleep in a flower bed, or being pushed out of a venue by a bouncer because they've done the wrong thing, or probably spewed somewhere or something. But anyway. So yeah, I have a hard time seeing a purely esports venue in Perth surviving.
Yeah. You know what? Just on that point, sorry, straight.
Mm,
What I really like about what they've done with Fortress is that they do have all these other little nooks and crannies and nestles with different things. So, what I really love and what I would want to check out next time I'm in Melbourne is their D&D pub, which
oh
I
yeah,
don't know if you've seen any pictures of that, but it is like
I'm
beautifully themed, this D&D pub. You can go in and you can play any board games, card games. You can hire out space for D&D campaigns, and
I'm
it's
going to
and
assume
it's
it looks
got all
something
pub
like
food.
this photo that I brought up here, because this photo looks bloody cool. Like
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of that old school Viking
yeah,
slash castle
mm,
slash era stuff,
yeah,
which is great. And I think that's the kind of thing that is potentially going to lure the
mm,
Perthites. What do you guys call yourselves?
I have no idea.
Perthians?
Yeah, I think Perthians. I think I've heard before.
um, but I'm sure that they will do their market research and work out the
Oh,
best way. Because if you're saying esports isn't going to be the biggest draw there, you know, who knows? They might tee in with Murdoch University
mm.
just to do their
Well,
groundwork there to make sure that, you know, they've got their bases covered. So,
there was a plan that came out a year or so ago with Murdoch Uni
mm,
um, creating some Perth campuses, like in the centre of Perth, and an esports stadium was part of that. Which I think that's how an esports stadium is going to survive in Perth, is by linking it to something else.
mm,
And in this case, linking it to a uni that's already got some history with esports and whatnot. I think that's probably the way that it's going to survive. And if you happen to if Fortress manages to partner with Murdoch Uni, and I think the
yes.
city of Perth are encouraging this, then that could be the way that Fortress gets over here and launches
Hey, hey,
something
hey,
like this.
Mads Brown, if you're in the chat, we've got an idea for you.
That's it.
Call up Murdoch.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah, so that could be a way that it works, but it would have to be like, if it's just a purely commercial venture, I don't think it would survive. It would have to be linked to another big org like a uni, or like some state government run facility or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Um.
we've got some issues in Adelaide where a lot of our central gaming arcades were phased out
mm,
because the local councils thought that that's where the troublesome youth hung out.
Yeah,
And so
I hope they worked out that that's where the youth hung out to not be troublesome, and now there's lots
I
more troublesome youth around.
yeah, I don't think they really quite got it. And that's what I worry about any esports development, specifically in Adelaide, for any areas of this of the town and the state where there's still those kind of traditional old school values.
Mm.
But I have a little bit of a whisper that there's something going on here
Mm.
that might be announced a bit later this year. I haven't been privy to anything, just
Mm.
somebody saying something's coming that I believe is a reputable human. So I'm waiting.
That would be amazing because, like,
Yes.
we've got like Palace Arcade and Planet Royale here that are like pubs that have video game machines in, which is pretty cool. You go and play a few games and whatnot. But like having a proper esports pub, like I'm talking like your sports bar esports pub where you've got so many screens around showing so many different things. Like I would love that. That would be my dream. Like I want a pub like that.
Well, maybe we need to make it happen, Straight.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've got a Saturday Lotto ticket that I haven't checked yet. Maybe I could just go and do that.
Oh,
Maybe I'm a
heck yes.
millionaire and I don't know it yet because I didn't win Powerball. So, you know.
Yeah. I'm old when I've joined a syndicate. So I'm waiting every weekend to see that payout and open our sports bar,
Yeah.
esports bar.
Nice. Cool. Well, I think that's about it for us tonight. We don't have. We had a good little chat there. I was actually quite happy with how my explanation of the Bulldogs
Yeah.
Sentinels game went. I hope people were happy with seeing that. But yeah, like there's always lots of esports going on, especially this time of year. Lots of League of Legends stuff going on with MSI just around the corner.
Yeah.
World of Tanks ANZPL kicking off, so we got that exciting. So we got 10 rounds of that before the finals kick off there. I believe they're actually doing a Fortress Melbourne thing there too. So live grand final at Fortress Melbourne. So it's going to be superb. Lots of esports stuff coming up. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I need to quickly drop LPL for CSGO is currently ongoing. They're on their fourth week of action. BAM has been running, so one of the biggest fighting game esports events is running at the moment. And I'm forgetting something else. Oh, the OCN for Siege is kicking off this week as well. So there's just look around the corner. There's esports there.
That's it. There's so much to watch. Go follow those Twitch channels that have them all on. Go follow like ESL Australia, and there'll always be something on there. And get your esports fix. See what's cracking. Even if you don't know the game, just watch it. Have it on in the background. Let them know that you care, because that's what we want. We want esports to grow, and the way they grow is by more eyes on the sport. So get amongst it.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody loves a cheeky lurk.
That's it. Cool. And speaking of that, we're going to go lurk somebody else's stream. So thanks again, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks, Straight. See you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you so much for stopping by to watch this video. If you like what you're seeing, why not check out this video here? Or if you really like us, drop us a subscribe. And don't forget to like and comment as well. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.